Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mastering Interview Preparations. So, this module focuses on the interview. An interview is a part of life. It is something that either you are already very comfortable with or one that makes you very, very nervous. So, it's important that you prepare for your interview. I highly, highly suggest going over different types of interview questions, different style of interview questions, and coming up with an answer. That way you have something sort of prepared, and that way you can make sure that when you're answering these questions, you are tailoring them to the response of the your interviewer. So interview skills are not something that everybody's just born having. It is important that you practice, practice, practice. This module is going to help you get started and um, ideas and examples on what to focus on and how to properly prepare for that big interview that you've worked really, really hard to um, get. So this module will continue on with different types of ways that you can prepare for interviews, as well as different type and style of interview questions. So please pay attention. This is really important information, especially for your major assignment of this module and the final assignment of the semester. Okay, so as we get started, we are going to talk about the importance of preparing for interviews as well as an overview of the presentation. So for us, we are going to talk about research, practice, appearance, communication, as well as some common pitfalls that may occur. The first step in preparing for your interview is to research the company. Now, this may seem like something that's very obvious for you to do, or maybe you don't know that you should have a little information ahead of time about the company that you are applying for. So the first is to understand the company's missions, values, and culture. This is also important when you get that question, what interested you in our company? Why do you want to apply here over, another hospital across town? So it's important to understand that if you have some information about that company, let's say that you are a huge advocate of childhood cancer, and the company you're applying for does a lot of research, advocacy, and fundraising for childhood cancer. That is something that you can bring up in your interview. It will show that you have a vested interest in that company. Also, you want to study the job description in detail. You have a general idea of what you're applying to, but again, having the information about that specific job ready to go when they ask you, tell me, what you can do in regards to this description of the job. It's important to have that information. And then again, prepare questions about the company and the role. So as long as you have your job description and you research the company, you can go ahead and create a list of questions that you can already have ready to go for that interviewer. This is also important when they say, do you have any questions for me? You can ask them any of those questions that you have prepared ahead of time. So as you're preparing for that interview, you want to understand the role you're applying for. So you want to identify key skills and qualifications that are needed, as well as reflecting on how your experience aligns with the job. Now, if you've gone through the internship, you have some really good examples for the sterile processing job. If you have relevant experience, say even in management, and that might be one of those key skills they want, team player, communication, you can bring that aspect of a previous job into the new job you're applying for. You'll also be able to prepare examples of past achievements relevant to the role. So again, if you had high expertise in customer service in a previous job and they want that in the new job that you're interviewing for, feel free to bring that into the conversation. As you are being interviewed, you are going to be asking multiple different types of interview questions and different style of interview questions. Some are more technical or role specific, such as, can you properly decontaminate heat sensitive items? Those are hard skills you have as you have been, practicing an internship and working in those specific roles. But some may also be behavioral type of interview questions, and these are equally as important. Behavioral interview questions want to assess if you were a good fit in regards to your soft transferable skills. Are you a good team player? How do you react in stressful situations? So different style of interview questions will happen throughout your interview. It's important when you're practicing to practice all of the different types of possible questions and different styles. Now, when we are talking about behavioral style questions, and we focus on this in the next lecture as well, we have what is called the STAR method, which stands for situation, task, action, and result. So regarding how to answer behavioral style questions, we will focus on the STAR method. All right, mastering your elevator pitch. Your elevator pitch is that first 30 seconds to a minute when you sit down with your interviewer. This is where they will say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. Nice to meet you. Tell me a little bit about yourself." So within 30 seconds, you need to be able to kind of sum up your skills, experience, and enthusiasm for the potential job that that you are applying for. So again, elevator pitch should be no more than 30 seconds to 1 minute. It is brief, it is concise, it is, "Hi, my name is Julia Wagner. I am a professor at Santa Fe College. I have a master's degree in health education and behavior, as well as a specialist certificate in health education. I'm really excited to apply this position so I can, use my skills and expertise." It's a quick 30-second brief introduction into who you are and why you're applying for the job or what makes you a good fit. So now you are at your interview and you have dressed for success. You want to research the company's dress code. A good rule of thumb is always business casual. You want to look neat, professional, but also comfortable. If you are wearing a brand new dress or let's say suit or shoes and they are giving you a blister, save those for another time. Wear something that is going to be comfortable but also professional. That way your best foot is forward, but you are not, in pain. You are not worried about how you look. You feel comfortable and you feel confident, and that's what's really important. So although for sterile processing, we wear scrubs every day. For the interview, you do want to dress up business casual, kind of dress to impress for that initial interview. It just shows that you care about your appearance, and you care about the interview process. On our screen right here, we have Romeo, and he is dressed and ready to go. Okay, body language matters. As you are sitting in your interview, you are probably nervous. You're not sure what the next question is going to be, but you do need to mind your body language. So maintaining eye contact, having confident posture, sitting up, not over slouching. Nervous habits. So moving a lot, moving your knees, bouncing your legs, popping your knuckles, picking at your fingers. These are all nervous habits that we tend to do whether we realize it or not when we are in stressful situations. So this is one of those things you just need to be mindful of. A good rule of thumb for that is just keep your hands folded in your lap and try to, continue to make good eye contact. Smiling and showing enthusiasm, again, is a good rule of thumb. Again, positive body language is what you want to show your interviewer. When you are really uncomfortable, you're not confident, it definitely can show in your body language, even if your answers are pretty good. So keep those things in mind. At the end of your interview, you are going to be asked, "Do you have any questions for me?" You should absolutely have questions for your interviewer. Now, there might be some that they answered ahead of time that you already kind of had in your mind, but you should have a couple prepared ahead of time. So this is one of the assignments for the week as well, where you are going to prepare a couple of questions that you're going to ask your interviewer. Again, this shows interest. This shows that you have a stake in the game. So some examples. What does success look like in this role? What are the team's biggest challenges currently? And just a general show of interest in the role. So these are good questions to get it started. Another question could be, how do you evaluate my performance? What is the onboarding period? Is there a probationary period, 30, 60, 90 days? This is not the time to ask the question, how much do I get paid? How much PTO do I get? Those are questions that once you are hired, you can ask the HR personnel. This is not appropriate to ask during an interview. Now, if the interviewer brings up pay or brings up your vacation, that might be a good segue to ask. But initially, in your initial interview, you are assessing the interviewer just as they are assessing you. But this is not the appropriate time to ask questions about finances or your PTO time off. Okay, so the interview is over, you made it. Make sure that you thank the interviewer for their time. If there are any chances for you to reaffirm your interest in the position, now would be the time to say that, I really look forward to hearing you. I'm very interested in this role, would be an appropriate conversation. You can also say, are there any steps that I need to take, or do I just, wait for an update? That is the appropriate time to ask during the closing of the interview. Okay, some common pitfalls to avoid. So the biggest one is being unprepared or late. Now, you will have submitted in your resume. I highly, highly suggest having a copy with you. I have been in plenty of interviews and my interviewer did not have a hard copy of the resume, and we're very grateful that I was prepared and gave them a hard copy of my resume. If they ask you about, why you're leaving a current position, there's a way to answer that question, but speaking negatively about past employers or your coworkers, that is not appropriate to do in this setting. And last but not least, forgetting to turn off your phone or silencing it. You don't want any distractions during the interview. All right, final tips for success. Stay positive and confident. Again, I know this is easier said than done. However, it's going to be really important for you, even during your interview, just to stay positive and confident. They don't know you're as nervous as you are unless you show it. Be yourself. Authenticity matters. This is a conversation. Think of the interview as just a simple conversation between you and, a potential employer. It's also important in those moments as you're being interviewed that you're kind of assessing the interviewer as well. Maybe halfway through the interview, you realize this doesn't really feel like a good fit for you, and that's okay too. This is your interview just as equally as it is theirs. And last but not least, learn from every interview experience. Practicing going on interviews is a really great way to build those skills and to make sure that you are, properly showcasing your best self.